Hello there, boys and girls, and my fellow autistic brothers.
I just diagnosed you retarded.
I'm going to keep this short and get right to the video. I have something a little bit different today. I've always loved conspiracy-type myths and games, you know. I love conspiracies in general, but especially when there's some facts behind them. So I thought it might be fun to make a quick video about some of them. Kind of started out with some more familiar ones, and then kind of moved away from some of the more mainstream ones. We're going to go through the actual conspiracies, what are the facts, and if there's any truth to them. But alright, let's get right into it.
Roll it. Pay close attention.
What are you doing on my
Platform.
What a fucking nick. Jeez, oh my god, what the fuck?
Okay, sorry, quick break. First off, I'm very sorry, Pewds, I just couldn't help myself. But I really just wanted to say thank you for all of the really nice comments from my last video. It definitely makes these even more worth it. I love you all. Thank you. Polybius, Punished by Lotion. It's an arcade game that came out in 1981 in only a few select arcades in Portland, Oregon. Now, if you have never heard of Polybius, this was an arcade game created by the government to literally run psychological tests on people playing the game. It only stayed in the arcade for a very short time, then was promptly taken away to never be seen again. There are a couple images of Polybius, including this image of the start screen and this image of the actual arcade cabinet. So what is the myth? Polybius, while running psychological tests that had to do with the frequencies of the sounds and the images that made people react in certain ways, including seizures, getting sick, passing out, and even death. Now, was Polybius real? Well, I normally keep a pretty open mind when it comes to conspiracies. Well, just for the known fact that governments have been doing terrible things and lying about them for, well, a hot minute.
Let them join us in this risk.
They turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Serious crap.
But Polybius is proven to be fake. The images I showed you are both fan-made. Now, you may find some people trying to pass them off on YouTube as real, or even showing gameplay, but these are all games that were made much later in time. If you look at the picture of the title screen, the fonts are almost identical to several games from the Williams Electronics arcade collection. Picture of the actual arcade machine, while the style is very similar and correct for that time area around 1980, it looks to be a mix of original parts from Pac-Man and Galaga that's just reconstructed to look like Polybius. I think a big reason this myth took off and held so much weight is for the mix-up with another arcade game called Berserk, where people actually did die playing it. Now, allegedly 3 people have died playing this game after setting a high score, or so I've heard, getting a score of around 666. The thing is, though, one person absolutely did die. In 1982, Peter Burkowski, while playing the game, supposedly, right after getting the high score, did die of a heart attack. This is the one confirmed death. Now, I would like to add, the coroner did say he had scar tissue on his heart, so it's very easy to see him getting a heart attack from, getting excited playing the game. But then again, government medical examiners have been known to lie on this occasion. Now, I could not find any evidence of the second death or the third one besides from rumors. Now, there was a stabbing in an arcade that was believed to be over the game Berserk, so the other two are circumstantial at best. Unless you are familiar with both of these, it's very easy to see how people ended up combining both of them, making the Polybius legend even deadlier. Okay, so this one gets very weird very fast. The game itself is called Schnell Online, a supposed chat room avatar type of game that's kind of like a dumbed down Half-Life. The game was to be created on the dark web or the deep web for, well, unsavory individuals, the type of people who trade pictures, files, that kind of stuff that is unfortunately on the internet. Now to start off, I actually opened up Tor and did a little searching myself, but I couldn't find anything that mentioned this game or the creators. The original post for this game comes from 4chan, and if you go to the actual page to download the game from 4chan, it leads you to an itch.io for a game called Carcass, created by someone named Olven. This was not the game mentioned though as Schnell Online.
Johnny, who has a very long nose.
A Redditor posted on a thread about Schnell Online, showing YouTube videos that included other mysterious games. This leads to the channel Saint. And if you go into Saint's information and click on his Twitter, you meet the man Olven Waplanis, the same person who uploaded the itch.io. Saint and Olven seem to be one and the same. Let's talk about the file he uploaded. The fact that the game comes shipped as a website and you open a plain HTML file locally without any additional software, it definitely is not a multiplayer game. So who did play Schnell Online? And where did it go? I found out the game was started in 2014 and it actually shut down in 2017, supposedly. So it would make sense that it's not available to download or check out anymore. Once you spend time in Saint's YouTube channel and you do a little research, you can tell he's a small game creator and reviewer that makes very obscure games. In reality, Schnell is either a fan-made project or just a simple single-player game made by Saint, and he used cryptic posts on 4chan to get the game's mysterious beginning and drive interest in his own channel and creations. A total myth, a very intuitive idea to draw excitement to your channel, or maybe Schnell Online accomplished what it needed to on the dark web and vanished into nothing. Mario 64 and the July 29th, 1995 build, or you might know it as every copy of Mario is personalized. This is a subject I could easily do a whole video on, but for now we're just going to give you an overview. Just under 30 years ago, a beta build of Mario was being worked on for the Ultra 64, which was the name for the Nintendo 64 before it was patented. A lot of mystery surrounds this mythos. This build of Mario may not have even been connected to Nintendo. There have been rumors that technology for this build was actually built by an unknown Japanese company and then sold to Nintendo. The premise of this technology Nintendo bought was creating characters and worlds to the person's likeness, so changing how the game plays on how the person plays it. Having this, Nintendo took this and developed into the build known as 1995-07-29. During the testing of this build, that's when developers started really learning the system. What they acquired was essentially an artificial intelligence built into Mario. Even during the testing phase, there had been several reports of personnel playing the game and getting sick, losing track of time, putting them into a manic state, or even with some being taken to the hospital. With this type of conspiracy or myth, it's really hard to pinpoint information, especially when it releases, because I'm sure as you know, people immediately start spamming false information, edited information, or just leaving information out. So what do we know for sure? We do know from the 2020 leak from Nintendo that the actual official start date for the development of Mario 64 was September 7th, 1994. We also know for sure that there were several beta builds of the game. There are a few people who say this is outright incorrect, but it's very easily provable. We have several confirmed screenshots, maps, music, characters, several things that were taken out of the game before the final release. There is about 1 million things speculated to be in the 1995-07-29 build of Mario 64, but it mainly comes down to some type of AI that personalizes the game to how people play. There are tons of posts about people remembering playing the game with specific events that were not in other people's games. To be clear, there's a lot of confusion with this build being mixed up with the Mario 64 B3313. This is actually just a ROM that was remade to be similar to the beta. But it's actually evolved into its own game, which is very good and very interesting. If you would like to play it, I will add the link. You may have your very own story or unique experience as a child or maybe even an adult playing Mario 64. And while as of right now there isn't full proof of this build, I myself even remember a time when people speculated that Luigi was really in the game. Everyone said, no, 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 it's a conspiracy, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about. Look at us now. We know there was an actual build of Mario 64 we could play as Luigi in multiplayer. So who knows, maybe this 1995-07-29 build of Mario is locked safely away in Nintendo's miles of underground corridors. Or maybe the AI has been real all along.
So long, Bowser!
We talked about Nintendo's Mario, and now we're going to go over the most successful franchise ever. This is Unit 731 in Pokemon, also known as Lavender Town Syndrome. To give a quick history lesson, a lot of people know the Germans were doing not very nice things in World War II, but a lot of people look over the Japanese during World War II. The Japanese had a specialized research unit categorized as Unit 731. This was a unit that essentially did some very horrible and extreme experiments on POWs and even some of their own citizens. If you're interested, it's probably best to look into it yourself, as a lot of the things they do are very extreme and could probably get me banned. To give one quick example, this unit developed a biological weapon that infected ticks with the plague, and they planned on using this to attack San Francisco September 22nd, 1945, to infect as many Americans as possible. Now, how does this connect to Pokemon? During the mid-90s, when the Pokemon games Red and Green were released in Japan, there was an area in them called Lavender Town. Lavender Town was an area that was a more spooky area with several ghost-type Pokemons, Cubone, and even a Pokemon cemetery. What this all boils down to, though, is a very specific audio tone during the area that caused a bizarre amount of medical cases in children. The audio was so high-pitched that supposedly only children under the age of 12 could detect it. To add to the music played in Lavender Town, there was also said to be several disturbing images that would pop up during this area, including one Pokemon numbered 731. Some people bring up that Pokemon 731 is Pikipek, but remember this was set in 1996, the beginning of Gen 1, before Gen 2 was even in its design state. Now, these images and sounds gave way to hundreds of Japanese children falling ill to different effects. A woman named Satuharu leaked a list after the release of Pokemon Red and Green Japan of medical cases stemming from these audio and visual issues. You may have picked up on two things: the strange Pokemon popping up under number 731, the same as the World War II research unit, and having psychological sounds and images slipped into a children's focused game sounds like something right out of the Unit 731 playbook. Okay, let's talk about the facts we know and that are confirmed. To start off, we do know the audio in Lavender Town was changed after the first release of the Japanese game. And, well, that's about it.
Let's just back it up a moment. You just said...
That's about it.
Meaning?
There is an insane amount of speculation for this myth. For a start, the Pokemon labeled 731 has been linked to this glitch of the missing no Pokemon from Gen 1. If you're not aware of this, to keep it as simple as possible, missing no or missing number is data from invalid Pokemon or Pokemon that have been taken out of the game. It has to do with the numerical values given to each of the Pokemon. It actually is kind of a pretty in-depth explanation, so I hope that abbreviation makes sense. Moving on though, missing no was only in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, so it wasn't even a part of the Red and Green Japanese versions. People have speculated it was connected to the 731 Pokemon, but while the glitch itself is real, again, there's no confirmation it's connected to Pokemon or Unit 731, and it was not even in the Red or Green versions. As I mentioned before, there's an absolute mountain and speculation of information about this one. The farthest back I can confirm information of this conspiracy is in July 11th, 2010 from Pastebin. I would like to note that if this mystery was completely false, it started in 2010, that's 14 years ago, And if there are parts of this mystery that are true, the information came out in 1996. That's either a 14 or 28-year gap where information can get lost or just completely spiral out of control. The more you dive into this, the more information you find that's either just completely made up or has only been just about certain parts. Half the information I came across when I was doing research, they were talking about the blue and red versions of the game, when we know it was only the original Japanese. Okay, hang on, what is going on in this? What the fuck? Anyways, it was only the original Japanese red and green versions. A lot of people also leave out the connection to Unit 731, which I think partly has to do with so many people have never heard of Unit 731. To go over information I could not confirm were the names of the people involved. Misatu Haru was a supposed programmer at Game Freak that leaked the first information about the medical records of the 4 children I posted earlier. I could not find a single confirming fact that she ever worked for Game Freak, or was even a person. I also could not find any information on any of the supposed leaked medical patients. I tried looking for the husband, Shin Nakamura, who was a programmer, and even their son, Ken Nakamura. No evidence of either one of them being real people, and definitely not working for Game Freak. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. I went ahead and actually started researching information from actual Japanese search engines and web pages, just in case of possible just missing information, maybe missing translations, something like that. And, well, I found a reoccurring theme. Yeah, I don't think this could be real when even the Japanese themselves didn't know about it. As you can see, I found tons of Japanese articles about this conspiracy, and they all stated this was a myth from overseas. To pretty much nail the coffin shut, I noticed Lavender Town goes by Shion or Zion Town in Japanese, so I even looked up that also. And just more of the same. Information stating of this American conspiracy they had never heard of in their own country. I'm not aware of anyone actually looking through Japan's official records for any type of medical cases or business-related articles, so not to brag, but...
If you ain't first, you're last. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay, but seriously though, it's safe to say that as cool as this conspiracy is, and I mean, the Japanese still running extreme experiments would definitely not surprise me, but we can confirm it's false.
False.
Seems Japan has just been sticking with the big booba anime girls. But maybe, just maybe, that's been their plan all along. Pretend they are just innocently making these big boob anime women's while they plot to take over the world and our minds. Okay, well, if you guys stayed around this long, I really just wanted to say thank you. Like, really, I love making these videos, and man, even just a few people enjoying them makes me want to just continue to get even better. I also want to say, you know, there's a lot of bullshit going on in our world, so if you're struggling with something right now, maybe it's big or even small, I have faith in you, I have faith that everything's going to work out, and I have faith that you're going to beat the shit out of whatever problem you're facing. Honestly, you know what? I will help you jump your problem. We will jump them and whoop its ass behind an alley. Okay, seriously though, small update. Just to let everyone know, I'm going to start making shorter 10 to 15 minute videos weekly, and then focus on one bigger video a month. It just takes me so long to research and edit these videos that I feel like I can at least put out more consistent stuff if I do it like that. Thanks again everyone, have a good rest of the week. Noble out.